So it's a new year, a new start, a new you, all the slogans we're used to. And yet you and I both know in about 3 weeks' time, unless you have a methodology or a tactic or a habit or a plan that's actually going to work for you, you are probably going to be doing pretty much the same thing you did all of last year. And I would like to shake up your year and give you a different way of approaching this, one that actually gets you results, one that gets you what you truly want by reverse engineering what most people do wrong. Hi, I'm Natalie Sisson, and I am so excited today to bring you the Annual Anchors methodology. And it's based on this foundational concept that I did not come up with, but I have been using really successfully for about 5 years because it totally transformed my relationship with how I go about making my goals a reality. Now, I'm a pretty powerful manifester, and I also love me some discipline and getting goals done. I'm a big action taker, but I realized that quite a few of my goals over the years hadn't really been coming to fruition because I was missing this one key piece. And that was that I wasn't changing who I was in order to get the desired outcome that I needed. And without that, nothing much was ever going to change. I could have some good wins. I could hit some of my goals and be quite successful at it. But fundamentally, I would always get back to baseline of who I was and be stuck with what I had. And pretty much nobody wants to stay stagnant. We always want to be growing and learning and developing and expanding ourselves, right? Because in the growth moments, everything becomes more amazing and beautiful and wonderful and challenging and exciting. But it's the stuff that keeps you personally finding meaning in what you want to do, living a really fulfilling life, and being on that edge of your comfort zone is a really great place to be. Otherwise, we're stagnating, and nobody wants to stagnate. So here's what I realized. In order to get what you really, really want, you have to do the things that are going to get you the things you want. But in order to do those things, you have to be the person who is willing to do those things to get them. So in short, rather than going, I'd love to make more money this year, you actually need to ask yourself, who do I need to become in order to commit to doing the right sort of things that are going to allow me to earn more money? Or if you're wanting to shape up and get in the best shape of your life, right? It's not about, I want to have a killer body and the most amazing energy in the world. It's who do I need to become every day to turn up and commit to doing the things that are going to move my health forward so that I can get this incredible energy that I want, so that I can be the strongest version of me ever, so I can be in fantastic shape and have tons of confidence and know that that will have a ripple effect in my life. This is the be, do, have foundation for setting goals and intentions that actually works. And yes, it's going to take some commitment on your part. It's going to take some change. It's going to have you looking at habits as well as to who do you need to be in order to do the things you need to do to get the results you want. So I actually want to share with you my Annual Anchors methodology. My husband and I sat down a couple of weeks ago at the start of the year, and we just sat on a couch together and talked about what are our top 3 anchors for this year. And these are things that are really going to ground you into what's important to you. And for once in my life, my business was not one of the top 3. In fact, this year it was all about relationships. I want to work on my relationship, my marriage with my husband. I want to break up with the relationship I have with my phone and completely transform it into something that serves me. And the third one is I want to work on my relationship with myself and my intuition. And I'm doing that through a combination of mentoring programs and breath work and just bringing much more attention to my intuition and how that guides me throughout the year. So those are the top 3 annual anchors that I have for this year. And I wanted to share basically a little bit more about them and why I know they are already starting to come into fruition. So let's start with the phone. This year, I am breaking up with my phone and the relationship that we have. I've decided I'm not getting a lot out of it. I feel really addicted to it. It sometimes helps me out with my learning. It helps me run my business for sure, but a lot of the other time it's taking me away from being present in my own damn life. I am clicking through, I am doom scrolling, I'm getting those dopamine hits and none of them last. It's like this relationship that takes and doesn't give a lot back. Now, don't get me wrong. Phones absolutely have their use. They get you around, they direct you to places. As I said, I can run my whole business from my phone if I really wanted, and I am so grateful for that. What I am not grateful for is the time, energy, and attention that it takes from me without me sometimes even knowing, because they have become so smart and so clever. That's why they're called smartphones. And this year, I want to take that back. I want to have my freedom back. And I want to create a relationship that is both loving and giving for both sides, where I get to use my phone to create, to connect, and to ultimately grow myself and my business. But I don't want it to take away from my thought leadership, from my ability to actually be bored and just be in the moment, from my ability to be present, like fully freaking present, where I don't need some downtime with my phone to escape or disconnect or have really unhealthy behaviors. And so in the annual anchors, I have set that up as one of my main criteria for this year. So this is going to be my foundation that I keep coming back to. And then with that, the second part to this process is not only creating I am going to recreate my relationship with my phone, it's having a so that you add on to that sentence, right? Because you need to have a reason why that is. And I've just talked about a lot of my reasons, because I want to be fully present with my family and my friends, because I want to take back control of how I spend my time and what's important to me. And frankly, I want to get my brain back online and not be so beholden to this phone of mine. It's actually really, really important to me. So I have created an annual anchor with a so that statement, and that gives me meaning to what I'm actually trying to achieve. And then the next step I do after setting that first annual anchor about breaking up with my phone is I now give myself 3 ways that I'm actually going to commit to that. So let me pull it up here on my laptop. 3 actions that I'm going to take. And for me, this is what I said. I'm going to take the phone out of my bedroom and my office. And let me tell you, in just 2 weeks of doing this, it has already created a massive impact in my life. So no phone anywhere near the bedroom. I can keep it in the wardrobe, but nowhere near my bed. So when I wake up in the morning, nobody hijacks my day. I can't just reach for it and start checking emails or doing stuff that is completely unuseful. Same at bed. At bedtime, it's all about gratitude journaling, reading, time with my love, and just winding down for the evening in a way that feels really serene and peaceful and relaxing. All right. The second one I talked about is getting it out of my office, because what I realized for most of last year is when I was using AI and I had some downtime, or I was waiting for something to upload, or I was working on a project, I would be checking my phone just to the side when I had like even a fraction of a second for waiting for something. And then I get taken off into this world of my phone and be messaging people and answering them and doing things that actually weren't important to the task that I was focusing on right then and there. They might have been useful, like calling somebody related to my mum's appointment, or setting up something for my son in daycare, or making arrangements for a date night. But I didn't need to be doing them right then and there when I was in the process of like working strategically on my business. So I have now taken my phone out of my office. This is my entire office that you can see in the background, but I have a little office just over here. And that is where I do all my live calls and my coaching. And so I don't plug it in there anymore. I plug it in out here. So I have to physically get up to go and get my phone. And research has proven that if you have to make even that action, it's already harder to do. So you're unlikely to do it. So already I'm more focused and productive. And I've just kind of got the spaciousness in my own brain back, because I'm not constantly got something that has my attention. My brain is not constantly fixed on things that are moving and at speed and just consuming me and not allowing me to just have a moment to think. So that has been a huge game changer. The second one that I wanted to do was use Josh, my husband, as my accountability partner. And he has already been instrumental in that. So if we are in the living room together or we're hanging out with Leo and I happen to pull out my phone and it is not related to anything that we're talking about, or organizing something for the family, or checking something that is actually important to what we're talking about, he will just say, "Hey, Nat, do we need to do that right now?" Or something that doesn't irritate me and upset me. And I'll be like, "No, you're right." And I will just put it away. In fact, my next step in this journey is to be removing it from spaces where we socialize and just not having it there when anybody else is around, because I want to be fully present and engage with them. And I think I do a good job of this, but I know it could be way better. And I know it really irritates Josh when I pick up my phone in the car, because he feels like he loses me. He feels instantly disconnected. Even if I'm just checking in on work or I'm checking something for us, it's a really interesting thing to see how quickly that disconnects us. So if I'm doing that with him as my husband, imagine what that's like when you're around your friends and your loved ones. If they see you constantly on your phone, you are probably losing out on some real depth and beauty in that relationship, because realistically, you're saying, my phone is more important than you right now. So the third thing that I'm doing is I'm using a simple habit tracker to track my journey over the first 90 days of this year. So I have just grabbed a daily planner and I'm using it as my gratitude journal. So each day of the week, I will write things that I am grateful for with a lot of emotion and energy, and just really reflect back on the day at the end of the night. I always do this before I turn my lights out in bed, and it leaves me feeling so appreciative of all the little nuanced moments throughout the day where I'm actually really grateful and appreciative and thankful for either people or things that happened. It's a beautiful way to go to bed. But also at the bottom of that, there is a little space for me to put in things that I did and or habits. So I have been noting when I've been doing chin-ups, and have also been noting when my phone is out of the bedroom. And I would like to see at the end of 90 days that maybe 85, 90% of the time I hit that, because now I would have developed a habit that is actually going to stick. And sure, I can go for 100, but let's be honest, we're humans. And sometimes it's probably going to sneak in there and I'm not going to have the discipline or the energy or the capacity to go out damn phone. So those are the three ways in which I am taking action on that goal, that annual anchor. And then with that, I also set up a 90-day plan. And what I want to gift you is access to my annual anchors workshop, where I'm going to teach you how to use this methodology. We are going to do it live together, and you're also going to get this template. So if you're interested in that, head below to lifepilot.co/anchors. Anyway, this has really already started impacting me. As I mentioned, we're only at the beginning of the year, and this is why I love annual anchors over massive amounts of goal setting and writing out a huge ass plan. And this is also linked into the Life Canvas 3-year vision. And it's greatly helped by Life Pilot, a cool app that holds you accountable for your daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly goals and intentions. There's this whole beautiful ecosystem that I built. If you're interested, check the description below this video. But annual anchors can work just by itself by purely focusing on those three priorities for your life this year. So the next one that I have is, obviously, as I mentioned, focusing on my marriage and our relationship. When you have young kids, we have one. When you have businesses and you're both entrepreneurs, we have several. When you have a large lifestyle property and a lot of work on the land to do, and just a lot of responsibilities and outside commitments, it can be really easy to prioritize your partners last. And I would say the last couple of years, we've tried our best to put each other first, but I realized at the end of last year that if I really want this to be the best relationship and the best marriage, I actually need to fundamentally focus on it, and I need to give it my all, and I need to prioritize it. It can't become an afterthought. We can't take the fact that we're both adults and we're both responsible and we've both got all these things on and just go, I'll give you the last little bit of my energy at the end of each day. We actually need to give that first, and we need to lean on each other and inspire each other and give more of that energy to each other so that we can become the best versions of ourselves. And it goes round in this beautiful kind of economy of giving and loving to each other. There was somebody on a video the other day when I was on Instagram, but using my time wisely. And he said, I've realized that when people come over to visit me, I give them the best version of myself. I will crack jokes. I will be so social. I'll be really, really gregarious. I will invite them in. I will give them all my energy and my time and attention. He's like, yet my son, who I see every single day of my life, doesn't get that. And I think he was being, like really, really radically honest with himself, because I'm sure he gives to his son and they have a lovely relationship. But he was saying, why is it that when strangers or distant friends or, close friends even come to my home or meet me, they get this amazing version of me, yet the people that I love, that I see every single day, get this half-assed, half-hearted version of it, because I'm so used to them that I don't really appreciate them anymore, or they don't seem important, or it just really, really hit home. And I think it hit home for him too. And I love the way it came across. And I realized that is entirely true. Who's the first person who gets your bad attitude or your grumpiness or you rant to and unload on. And usually it is the people that you love most in your life, because you know that they can usually hold that for you. They can give you that capacity. They love you regardless. It's unconditional, hopefully, and they can take it. But do you need to be putting it on them all the time? Are there other avenues for you to be able to do that, like your journal or talking into your notes app so that you feel like you're talking to something, or your therapist or your counselor, or somebody who's not in your life every day but is a really wise soul who you can turn to when things are getting hard, so that it doesn't always have to land on the people that you love, and instead show up with the most love and the most energy and the most kindness and empathy, and really trying to see it from their worldview. Like whenever you're having discussions or disagreements or, questioning things or setting up your visions together, how do you incorporate how they're feeling and who they are and what's important to them? And I would say that if we all started doing a little bit more of that rather than focusing on ourselves so much, the world would be a better place. So how am I doing this? I am taking 3 actions once again. And one of those is the most simple thing in the world. Well, it should be, is thinking before acting or speaking. So I often will just say exactly what's on my mind, and I don't necessarily think about how it's being delivered, with love or without. And many times over the last few years, I have just wished that I had taken a pause and taken a breath and had a little bit of time to think before responding to something rather than reacting to it. So this year, I want to respond, not react. I want to take that breath, take that moment to pause, and then share. And I know that I have been practicing this for quite a while now, and it is actually really starting to make an impact, and it's starting to take an effect. And Josh has noticed it, and probably some other people have noticed it, but I have a long way to go on this front. Just allow yourself the grace to think about, how will this land? Is this an invite? Is this a criticism? Is this what I actually want to say right now? Am I just feeling hurt or resentful, or am I just jumping in without truly thinking through what is important here and whose feelings are at hand and how this might land? So I think that's going to be huge. I have a couple of other ways, and I'm doing that, and I'm going to share those in the workshop. So once again, if you want to come along to that, lifepilot.co/anchors. And it is 100% free. Normally it's reserved for my beautiful Legends Club members, but I am hosting an additional workshop this month so that you can learn this methodology and hopefully apply it in your life and have some incredible results that are really radically different to what you've normally had. And at the very least, that you will think more intentionally about what are the 3 most important things that would make a huge success on every level of life. That's what I want for you. So I hope you're starting to get an understanding of how this can really change the way in which you show up. And so just what I want to share here as well is the way that I want to have a beautiful relationship with Josh, and obviously this will extend to my friendships and other relationships, is what I want to have is that beautiful relationship. How am I going to do that? One of the doing anchors here is about removing the phone from my relationships as much as possible and the spaces in which it could affect relationships. And the B, who do I want to be, is all about being more intuitive this year. And that's what I mentioned at the beginning of this. I am taking on a mentorship, which is all focused on breath work and intuition and journaling and reflection, and being much more focused on who I am becoming and who I want to become. And so that's how it now layers into those 3 annual anchors: a be, a do, and a have. And I already know that those 3 things that I have focused on, which are now so ingrained here, I could repeat them to anybody tomorrow because I am actually living and breathing them and actively working on them, that it is going to have a ripple effect in the rest of my life. Because imagine if I'm showing up and being more present and having less phone time, imagine all the extra time that I'm now going to have to be able to put into people, hobbies, reading, painting, dance, walking, adventures, whatever it may be. Same thing. If I'm putting that relationship effort in with Josh, that will then start to show up in other relationships because I'll be able to see the results and how much it's impacting him and how much more joy it's bringing us. And then I'll want to apply that to more people in my life. Like I'll start with one. It's a very important relationship, right? But I can already see it with my son, who I always give a load of my time and energy to. But how do I then transfer even more of that to other people in my life who really could probably do with more care and nourishment and just more connection, that I could give more of my time that I now have thanks to breaking up with my phone. So you can see how it just starts to evolve into other areas of your life. And I think that's really freaking important. And more importantly, the Be Do Have methodology and your 3 annual anchors just will ground you in what actually matters, not all the other stuff you think you have to do or you should be doing, or that society expects you to do. We can get rid of the shoulds, the expectations, the have-tos, and we can focus on the get-tos, which is what we're all about here at Life Pilot. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I hope you have enjoyed this video. And again, just check down in the description. I've got a ton of awesome free resources for you to be the CEO of your life, not just your business. And I can't wait for you to come on this journey with me. Click subscribe if you want more videos like this dropping regularly. And my commitment to you this year is to show up with more value for you to become the CEO of your life and the best possible version of you, so you can have the best possible life that you deserve.